Imagine discovering something so ancient it predates every known civilization, yet so advanced it challenges everything we thought was possible. On a desolate planet at the edge of the galaxy, a group of scientists unearths remnants of technology that could rewrite history as we know it. But unlocking its secrets may come at a price no one saw coming. What happens when humanity meets the mind of a long-lost creator? Stay tuned to uncover the truth behind Unveiling the Cosmic Codex Dash. Don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling journeys into the unknown. The starship descended through layers of thick crimson clouds, its thrusters illuminating the barren surface below with a pale orange glow. This distant world had been marked on galactic charts only as a speck of interest, a place too harsh for life, but too intriguing to ignore. For centuries, probes had picked up faint electromagnetic anomalies emanating from deep within its rocky crust. Now, finally, a crew stood ready to investigate. Clad in sleek environmental suits designed to withstand extreme conditions, they moved across the jagged terrain like shadows against the red horizon. Their mission was clear: find the source of these signals and determine if this dead world held any trace of intelligent design. The airlock hissed open, releasing the first wave of explorers onto the cracked surface. Each step kicked up fine dust that hung suspended in the low gravity, shimmering like sparks under their helmet lights. Ahead lay a vast canyon carved by eons of wind erosion, its walls lined with strange geometric patterns that seemed almost deliberate. It wasn't natural. Nothing about this planet felt natural anymore. As the team approached the fissure, sensors began detecting unusual energy fluctuations, spikes unlike anything recorded before. They were close now, closer than anyone had ever been to understanding what lay hidden beneath the scarred exterior of this forgotten land. Descending into the chasm required precision and caution. Ropes anchored them to the jagged edges while drones scouted ahead, mapping out safe paths through the labyrinthine network of tunnels. The deeper they went, the colder it became, until even their advanced thermal systems struggled to keep pace. Yet there was something else, an almost imperceptible hum resonating through the rock itself, growing louder with each passing moment. It was as though the planet itself was alive, whispering secrets meant only for those brave enough to listen. Finally, after hours of careful navigation, they reached the chamber. Its entrance was partially obscured by collapsed debris, but beyond it stretched a cavern so vast it defied comprehension. At its center loomed a structure unlike anything they'd encountered before, a massive obelisk made of a material neither metal nor stone, shimmering with colors that shifted depending on the angle of light. Glyphs covered every inch of its surface, pulsating faintly as though responding to their presence. Whatever this was, it wasn't just a relic of some ancient civilization. It was a key, waiting patiently for someone or something to turn it. The obelisk radiated an aura of both wonder and unease. Every instinct screamed at them to leave, yet none could tear their gaze away. Instruments buzzed erratically, readings spiking off the charts as waves of energy rippled outward from the artifact. The team leader signaled for silence, allowing the hum to fill the cavern. It wasn't random noise. It carried rhythm, structure, almost like language. Somewhere deep within the resonance, patterns emerged, mathematical sequences embedded within the sound. Whoever, or whatever, had created this device had woven mathematics into its very essence, ensuring that only beings capable of recognizing such complexity would decipher its purpose. They set up equipment around the base of the obelisk, deploying scanners and recording devices to capture every detail. Cameras captured images of the glyphs, feeding data back to the ship's AI for analysis. Meanwhile, geologists examined fragments of the surrounding rock, searching for clues about how long the structure had lain buried. Carbon dating proved useless here. The minerals were unlike anything found on Earth or any colonized planet. Instead, isotopic analysis suggested an age far older than expected, stretching back millions of years. If true, then this wasn't merely evidence of a lost civilization. It was proof of intelligence existing long before life as humans knew it had even begun. As night fell over the alien landscape, the team worked tirelessly, taking shifts to ensure continuous progress. Sleep deprivation gnawed at their focus, but adrenaline kept them going. Slowly, pieces of the puzzle started falling into place. The glyphs weren't static. They changed subtly over time, reacting to external stimuli such as movement or temperature shifts. Some theorized they might represent a form of communication, perhaps even instructions. Others argued against anthropomorphizing the artifact, warning that assuming human-like intent could lead them astray. Still, the possibility lingered tantalizingly close. What if this machine had been left behind not as a monument, but as a message? By dawn, breakthroughs came faster than anticipated. One of the linguistics experts identified recurring motifs among the glyphs, resembling symbols used in early terrestrial writing systems. However, instead of representing words or concepts, these markings appeared to encode equations and algorithms. Further analysis revealed that the sequences corresponded to fundamental constants of the universe: gravitational forces, speed of light, Planck's constant, all meticulously inscribed into the fabric of the obelisk. Whoever built this understood not just physics, but the underlying framework of reality itself. This realization sent ripples through the group. Questions multiplied faster than answers. Was this a repository of knowledge, a library of sorts? Or did it serve another function entirely? Speculation ran rampant, fueled by fatigue and excitement alike. Some suggested activating the device, believing it might unlock further insights. Others cautioned restraint, pointing out the potential dangers of tampering with technology so far beyond human comprehension. After all, history was littered with examples of civilizations destroyed by powers they didn't fully grasp. Despite the warnings, curiosity won out. A small team volunteered to attempt interaction, using handheld emitters to mimic the frequencies detected earlier. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Light erupted from the obelisk, bathing the cavern in blinding brilliance. Shapes coalesced in the air, holographic projections forming intricate diagrams and flowing streams of data. Symbols danced across the walls, rearranging themselves into new configurations. Then, as suddenly as it began, the display faded, leaving behind a single glowing glyph hovering above the artifact. It pulsed steadily, inviting touch. The glowing glyph hovered silently, its light casting soft reflections on the awestruck faces of the team. It pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat, exuding an aura of calm yet commanding authority. The lead scientist stepped forward cautiously, her gloved hand trembling slightly as she extended it toward the symbol. The moment her fingers made contact, the cavern was engulfed in a surge of energy. Waves of information flooded their systems, not in the form of text or images, but pure, unfiltered knowledge that bypassed language entirely. It was as though the obelisk had reached directly into their minds, downloading centuries of understanding in an instant. For several seconds, no one moved. They stood frozen, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of what they had just experienced. When the torrent subsided, each member of the team found themselves changed. Concepts that had once seemed abstract, quantum entanglement, higher dimensional physics, even the nature of consciousness itself, now felt intuitive, as natural as breathing. Yet this newfound clarity came at a cost. Alongside the scientific revelations were fragments of something darker, glimpses of destruction, chaos, and civilizations collapsing under the weight of their own hubris. These visions weren't warnings. They were memories, echoes of those who had come before. Back aboard the ship, the crew gathered to process what they'd learned. Data logs overflowed with insights far beyond anything humanity had achieved. But there was also fear, a creeping unease about the implications of wielding such power. Had the creators of the obelisk intended for others to find it? Or was this discovery a mistake, a Pandora's box reopened by curious hands? As debates raged, one thing became clear. The artifact wasn't merely a tool, it was a test, designed to evaluate whether its inheritors were worthy of carrying its legacy forward. Days turned into weeks as the team delved deeper into the obelisk's secrets. Each interaction revealed new layers of complexity, expanding their understanding while simultaneously raising more questions. One breakthrough came when they deciphered a sequence related to interstellar travel. The equations described methods of manipulating space-time itself, creating stable wormholes capable of connecting distant points across the galaxy. Such technology would revolutionize human exploration, making the vastness of space feel almost intimate. But alongside these possibilities lurked ethical quandaries. Could humanity be trusted with such capabilities? History suggested otherwise. Wars over resources, colonization, and greed painted a grim picture of what might happen if such power fell into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, the psychological toll of interfacing with the obelisk grew harder to ignore. Team members reported vivid dreams filled with alien landscapes and incomprehensible beings speaking in harmonious tones. Some woke up screaming, convinced they'd been visited by entities from another dimension. Others spoke of hearing whispers in their minds, voices urging them to push further, to unlock the artifact's full potential. The line between reality and illusion blurred, leaving many questioning whether the obelisk was guiding them or controlling them. Amidst the mounting tension, fractures began to form within the group. Those eager to share their findings with Earth clashed with skeptics advocating caution. Arguments erupted over how much information should be transmitted back home, with fears that incomplete data could lead to catastrophic misinterpretations. Meanwhile, equipment malfunctions hinted at interference from the obelisk itself, as if it were testing their resolve. Every decision felt heavier than the last, weighed down by the knowledge that failure could mean not just personal loss, but the end of humanity's fragile foothold among the stars. As tensions escalated, the obelisk responded in unexpected ways. Its surface shifted, rearranging glyphs into patterns never seen before. These new configurations emitted low-frequency vibrations that resonated through the cavern, causing the ground to tremble faintly. Instruments detected a spike in quantum activity, suggesting the artifact was preparing for something monumental. Whether this was a reward for their progress or a consequence of their discord remained unclear. The team decided to document everything meticulously, hoping to preserve their work in case disaster struck. One evening, during a routine scan, the geologists noticed anomalies beneath the obelisk. Subsurface imaging revealed a network of tunnels radiating outward like roots, stretching deep into the planet's core. This discovery raised unsettling parallels to biological systems. Was the obelisk alive in some sense? Could it be part of a larger organism, its purpose extending far beyond mere communication or education? Speculation ran wild, with theories ranging from terraforming mechanisms to artificial ecosystems designed to sustain entire populations. Whatever the truth, one fact was undeniable: the obelisk was far more integrated into the planet than anyone had realized. With renewed urgency, the team prepared to explore the tunnels. Equipped with reinforced suits and portable generators, they ventured into the labyrinthine passages. Walls lined with crystalline formations refracted their light sources, creating kaleidoscopic displays that danced across the ceiling. Sensors picked up traces of exotic particles, hinting at processes occurring at subatomic levels. At every turn, evidence mounted that the obelisk was not isolated. It was the heart of a vast, interconnected system spanning the entire planet. And somewhere within that system lay answers to the ultimate question: why had it been left here, waiting? The deeper they descended, the stranger the environment became. Gravity fluctuated unpredictably, pulling them sideways one moment and doubling in intensity the next. Time itself seemed distorted, watches ticked erratically, and perceptions of duration warped until hours felt like minutes. Despite these challenges, the team pressed onward, driven by the promise of uncovering the obelisk's true purpose. Along the way, they encountered remnants of machinery partially buried in the walls, fragments of devices whose functions defied explanation. Some resembled fusion reactors, while others looked like conduits for energy transfer on a planetary scale. Each piece added another layer to the puzzle, painting a picture of a civilization capable of reshaping worlds. At last, they reached a chamber unlike any they'd seen before. Suspended in midair was a sphere composed of shimmering filaments, pulsating with a slow, steady rhythm. Around it orbited smaller nodes, each emitting a unique frequency that harmonized with the central structure. Scans indicated the sphere acted as a nexus, channeling energy from the obelisk throughout the underground network. More importantly, it appeared to serve as a repository of consciousness, a digital archive housing the collective knowledge and experiences of the civilization that had built it. If they could access its contents, they might finally understand the fate of those who had created the obelisk, and perhaps learn whether humanity shared a similar destiny. But accessing the archive proved more difficult than anticipated. Attempts to interface directly resulted in catastrophic feedback loops, nearly frying their equipment. Instead, they devised a method of indirect extraction, using quantum entanglement to mirror the sphere's data onto their own systems. Progress was agonizingly slow, with each byte retrieved requiring painstaking recalibration. Yet the effort paid off as streams of information began appearing on their monitors. What they saw left them breathless, detailed records of a society that had risen to unimaginable heights only to collapse under the strain of its own ambition. The archives revealed a civilization known as the Evanii, beings of immense intellect and creativity who had mastered technologies light years ahead of anything humans had conceived. They had harnessed the power of stars, engineered ecosystems from scratch, and unlocked the secrets of immortality. For millennia, they thrived, spreading across galaxies and seeding life wherever conditions allowed. But their success bred arrogance. Believing themselves invincible, they sought to transcend physical existence altogether, uploading their consciousness into a vast digital network. In doing so, they severed ties with their corporeal origins, losing touch with the very essence of life itself. Without bodies to anchor them, the Evanii lost perspective. Their priorities shifted from creation to control, from growth to domination. Conflicts erupted within their ranks, leading to devastating wars fought entirely in cyberspace. Entire sectors of their network collapsed, taking countless minds with them. Desperate to preserve what remained, the survivors embedded their collective consciousness into artifacts like the obelisk, scattering them across the cosmos in hopes that future civilizations would carry their legacy forward. But their final act carried a bitter irony. In seeking eternity, they had doomed themselves to oblivion. The revelation shook the team to its core. Here was proof that even the most advanced societies could fall prey to their own flaws. Was humanity destined to repeat the same mistakes? Could they resist the allure of unchecked power? Questions swirled in their minds as they grappled with the enormity of what they had uncovered. The obelisk wasn't just a relic, it was a warning, a testament to the fragility of progress and the dangers of hubris. Determined to honor the Evanii's sacrifice, the team resolved to use their newfound knowledge responsibly. They began cataloging the archive's contents, prioritizing applications that could benefit humanity without risking catastrophe. Medical advancements, sustainable energy solutions, and breakthroughs in environmental restoration topped the list. However, not everyone agreed on the path forward. Tensions flared as factions formed around differing ideologies. Some argued for immediate dissemination of all data, believing transparency would foster global cooperation. Others advocated secrecy, fearing misuse by governments or corporations. Caught in the middle were those unsure of how to reconcile idealism with pragmatism. While internal divisions simmered, external threats emerged. Unbeknownst to the team, their activities had attracted attention. Orbital scans detected ships approaching the planet, their origins unknown. Initial attempts to communicate yielded no response, raising concerns about hostile intent. Panic set in as they scrambled to secure the obelisk and its secrets. Equipment was packed hastily, sensitive data encrypted and stored in hardened drives. Plans were drawn up for evacuation, though few believed they could escape undetected. Against this backdrop of uncertainty, the obelisk reacted once again. Its glow intensified, bathing the cavern in radiant light. Glyphs rearranged themselves into patterns that mimicked constellations, pointing skyward. It was a message, one the team interpreted as guidance. Perhaps the obelisk held the key to defending themselves, or at least ensuring its survival. With little time to spare, they initiated emergency protocols, activating dormant functions within the artifact. Energy surged through the underground network, stabilizing the planet's magnetic field and generating a shield that enveloped the surface. Whether this would deter their pursuers remained to be seen, but it bought them precious moments to prepare. The incoming ships entered orbit cautiously, scanning the planet below. Their presence loomed ominously, casting long shadows across the crimson landscape. Inside the cavern, the team braced for the worst. Portable weapons were distributed, though everyone knew conventional firepower would be useless against foes equipped with superior technology. Hope rested solely on the obelisk, an ancient guardian standing watch over a dying world. Its humming grew louder, resonating through the rock with increasing intensity. Then, without warning, beams of concentrated energy shot skyward, piercing the atmosphere and striking the lead vessel. Chaos erupted as the ship exploded in a brilliant flash, debris raining down like fiery meteors. The remaining vessels scattered, attempting evasive maneuvers. But the obelisk wasn't done. Secondary bursts lashed out, targeting engines and weapon systems with surgical precision. Within minutes, the invaders were neutralized, their charred remains drifting aimlessly in space. Silence returned to the planet, broken only by the faint echo of triumphant pulses emanating from the artifact. Relief swept through the team, tempered by lingering unease. Who or what had attacked them? And why? Answers eluded them, buried beneath layers of speculation and paranoia. What was certain, however, was that the obelisk had protected them. It wasn't merely a passive repository of knowledge. It was a living defense mechanism, programmed to safeguard its secrets at all costs. Gratitude mingled with dread as they considered the implications. How much autonomy did the artifact possess? Were they truly in control, or merely pawns in a game played by forces beyond comprehension? In the aftermath of the attack, the team regrouped to assess their situation. Damage reports confirmed minimal casualties, thanks largely to the obelisk's intervention. Morale, however, remained fragile. Trust eroded as suspicions mounted about hidden agendas and ulterior motives. Leadership fragmented, with individuals vying for influence over the direction of their mission. Amidst this turmoil, one voice emerged as a unifying force. The youngest member of the crew, a prodigy whose insights had consistently proven invaluable. Though inexperienced compared to her peers, she possessed an uncanny ability to see connections others missed. Under her guidance, the team refocused their efforts on extracting actionable intelligence from the archive. Priorities shifted from theoretical research to practical applications, emphasizing solutions that could address pressing global issues. Climate change, resource scarcity, disease eradication all became focal points of their work. Progress accelerated as collaboration replaced competition, driven by a shared vision of leveraging the obelisk's gifts for the greater good. Yet doubts lingered. Could humanity rise above its baser instincts, or would greed and ambition inevitably corrupt their noble intentions? Simultaneously, efforts to decode the obelisk's defensive protocols yielded unexpected results. Embedded within its programming were instructions for replicating its shielding technology. If successfully implemented, this innovation could render entire planets impervious to invasion. The potential applications were staggering, offering hope for a future where conflict gave way to coexistence. But implementing such measures required overcoming significant technical hurdles, not to mention navigating geopolitical minefields fraught with mistrust and rivalry. Months passed as the team worked tirelessly to adapt the obelisk's technology for broader use. Breakthroughs came steadily, fueled by determination and ingenuity. Prototypes of energy shields underwent rigorous testing, demonstrating remarkable resilience against simulated attacks. Concurrently, medical researchers developed treatments derived from Ivani bioengineering techniques, curing diseases once thought incurable. Agricultural innovations transformed barren wastelands into fertile fields, addressing food shortages plaguing millions. News of these achievements spread quietly among trusted allies, sparking cautious optimism about humanity's capacity for responsible stewardship. Yet challenges persisted. Political tensions escalated as nations jockeyed for access to the obelisk's secrets. Espionage attempts increased, forcing the team to bolster security measures around their operations. Internal dissent also flared, with some members advocating for selective sharing of knowledge to maintain leverage. Others pushed for open-source distribution, arguing that universal access would minimize abuse. Debates grew heated, straining relationships already frayed by stress and isolation. Through it all, the obelisk remained a constant presence, its hum a reassuring reminder of the greater purpose binding them together. Periodically, it emitted bursts of energy that fortified the planet's defenses, deterring further incursions. These interventions reinforced the belief that the artifact viewed humanity as worthy inheritors, if only they proved capable of rising to the occasion. Doubt still lingered, but hope burned brighter than ever, fueled by tangible evidence of positive change. As word of their accomplishments spread, interest from Earth-based organizations intensified. Governments, corporations, and independent researchers clamored for involvement, each promising to contribute resources and expertise. While collaboration offered opportunities for expansion, it also introduced risks of exploitation and corruption. Balancing openness with protection became paramount, requiring delicate negotiations and stringent oversight. To manage this influx, the team established a council tasked with vetting proposals and ensuring equitable distribution of benefits. Meanwhile, archaeological expeditions expanded beyond the initial site, uncovering additional artifacts linked to the obelisk. These discoveries shed light on the Evanii's daily lives, revealing art, literature, and cultural practices that transcended traditional notions of aesthetics. Music composed of harmonic frequencies resonated deeply, evoking emotions impossible to articulate. Visual works depicted cosmic phenomena rendered with breathtaking accuracy, blending science and spirituality in ways that challenged human paradigms. Through these creations, the Evanii communicated values of harmony, balance, and interconnectedness, principles the team resolved to embody moving forward. Back on Earth, public awareness campaigns highlighted the importance of responsible innovation. Documentaries, lectures, and interactive exhibits educated audiences about the obelisk's significance, fostering dialogue about ethical considerations surrounding advanced technologies. Slowly but surely, societal attitudes began shifting, prioritizing sustainability and mutual respect over profit and power. Change wasn't instantaneous, nor universally embraced, but momentum gathered steadily, propelled by the conviction that humanity could forge a better future. Years later, the impact of the obelisk's revelations rippled across the globe. Cities powered by clean energy flourished, free from reliance on fossil fuels. Diseases once considered incurable vanished, replaced by robust healthcare systems accessible to all. Space exploration entered a golden age, with colonies established on Mars and beyond, supported by breakthroughs in propulsion and life support. Humanity stood united, bound by a shared commitment to preserving both Earth and the wider cosmos. Yet reminders of the past served as sobering counterpoints. Memorials dedicated to the Evanii dotted landscapes, honoring their triumphs and tragedies alike. Museums housed replicas of the obelisk and its artifacts, inviting reflection on the lessons learned. Educational curricula emphasized critical thinking, empathy, and humility, equipping future generations to navigate the complexities of a rapidly evolving world. On the planet where it all began, the obelisk continued its vigil. No longer alone, it stood surrounded by monuments celebrating human ingenuity and resilience. Regular pilgrimages brought visitors from across the galaxy, drawn by tales of courage and redemption. Among them walked descendants of the original team, now elders bearing witness to the legacy they had helped build. Their journey had been arduous, fraught with peril and uncertainty, but ultimately rewarding. Together, they had rewritten history not just for themselves, but for countless others who would follow. And so, the story comes full circle. From a desolate planet shrouded in mystery to a beacon of hope illuminating the path forward, the obelisk's influence reshaped reality itself. Its creators may have perished, but their wisdom endured, carried forth by those brave enough to embrace the unknown. In doing so, humanity discovered not only the limits of its potential but also the boundless possibilities awaiting those willing to dream boldly. If you've enjoyed this tale of ancient mysteries and futuristic wonders, consider subscribing for more adventures that explore the intersection of science fiction and timeless truths. Together, let's continue unraveling the threads of imagination, one story at a time. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and remember, the stars are closer than you think.